All right, and we are back again with a brand new episode of Another 24. I am your stupid, crazy, handsome host, Taurus Montez, and today I got a very special guest in the building. Now, this guest has made it his mission to help people that look like me. Thank you for that, by the way.
So,
you know, with their finances and making better choices for their future. I have the one, the only certified financial advisor, Desean Scott, in the building. What's going on, man?
good, everybody.
How you feeling? How you feeling?
I'm doing pretty well. Made it to another day, Sunday, so I'm alive.
There we go. Now I gotta ask you, man. How the portfolio looking today? Does it go? Well, I guess that ain't doing nothing today, right?
Yeah, Sunday,
nothing.
Okay. But yeah, the market's been really volatile lately.
Yeah.
Like past 4 days, S&P went up like $30. So after it just dropped $30.
Right. Okay.
It's really volatile right now.
Yeah, it's all over the place, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so being a financial planner, financial advisor, all of these things. How did you land in that field of finances? Where did that come from?
So it started 6 years ago at this point. So I was supposed to be a therapist, child psychologist.
Okay.
I went to school for psychology.
Me too. I did too.
Really? Okay. Yeah, solid. So yeah, and my mom did too. She just got her master's. So yeah. But so I was on Twitter. I saw this guy on Twitter. Options Gang Carl. I'm gonna shout him out. Options Gang Carl. He pay homage all the time. He really changed the trajectory of my life. Mm-hmm. Saw him on Twitter. He turned $300 into $15,000, and I was infatuated after that. I was like, yo, what is this? Mm-hmm. And so I got on YouTube. I got on YouTube, started doing my own research, blase. I ended up joining his group for a little bit, learned how to trade, things of that nature. And then I just started trying stuff. So, I just tried a bunch of different stuff. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to actually try it this time. So I was, just paper trading, not really trading, just trying different stuff. And so this was January 28th. That day changed my whole life. So I put in some money into Tesla. So I was doing options. So that means that you are betting if a stock is going to go up or down based off of either fundamentals, technical analysis, whatever strategies you use.
Gambling.
Yes and no. People say that all the time. So it's different from like sports gambling because at the end of the day, I've never sports bet first. I don't really know. But educate me. So if you get into a parlay or whatever you call it, can you take your money out before the game is over?
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So that is a big.
I don't sports bet, but it just sounds like gambling, but okay.
So I would assume so. But with trading, you can get in and out at any point. If you see it's not going your way, you can get out. So yes, it is gambling because you are risking your money, but it's more not necessarily educated, but you have more flexibility. If you want to get out, if you lost $5, you can get out. Whereas if you you have to stay in for the whole game to see if you make that money.
Right.
So it is gambling. It is a gambling in a sense. It is, but it's not all the way. So I just like to clarify that part.
It's gambling, but the game doesn't end until you say so.
Exactly. You have full control over what you want to do with that position. You can hold it, sell it, whatever you want to do. So what was that? So I got into Tesla. I didn't really know what I was doing yet, so I put in like $85 because I didn't know what I was doing. I bought a call January 28th, 2020. That was like maybe my 5th trade. I started learning it in 2019, but I didn't really pull the trigger until 2020. So we bought that call. So I bought that call. I was betting it was going to go up. Super out of the money, which means you're betting that it's going to go like $100 plus. It's not really probable. It's not. The probability isn't that high, so it was really cheap. So the less probable, the cheaper the contract will be. And I held that for like a week. As it's going up, I'm telling my wife, "Yo, I'm trying to teach." I was trying to teach her this. I'm like, "Yo, let me teach you this new thing I just found." And so she didn't believe it at first. She thought it was fake. And February 4th is the day I got out of it. $85 to $5,400. So I was like, yo, I don't care about anything else. I'm about to learn this. And so as that's going up, I got my student refund. So we got our student refunds back in college. I was always doing the right things. So this time though, I was like, yo, I'm gonna try to trade with this. So I put in probably like 700 something like that. It was a little bit of my student refund. February 3rd. And then as that $85 one is going up from January 28th, I'm telling my wife, like, yo, give me some of your student refund. She gave me, I want to say like 600, something like that. the very next day, my trade 700 to 11,000. Her trade went from 600 to what 6,700. So in the span of a week, we made like 20 grand off of maybe less than $2,000. So at that point, I'm like, yo, I got to learn this. And so I started learning, teaching people for free. I've taught. The craziest place I've taught someone was from the UK, which was, I don't even know how she found me, but taught someone from the UK, Hawaii, Canada, and then a bunch of places around locally. So I started to teach people, and then I taught my boy, Z Hansen, Zacomo Hansen. That dude, I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for him. So he introduced us to his family friend who was a stockbroker for maybe, 30 years or so. And I talked to him on the phone for a couple of times, introduced him to my wife. Mm-hmm. He's like, you know what, yo, he's from New York, so I'm copying him. He's like, yo, I like y'all so much. I want to create I want to create a legacy for the next generation of black financial professionals. And so he got my wife, myself, my boy Z, and then 2 other people. He told us to come to St. Croix, the Virgin Islands. So we stayed out there for 7 months, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 7 months. We fast forward. This is like 2022 at this point. Yeah, 2022. So we went to St. Croix. We were so blessed that he was able to talk his boss into sponsoring us to get our Series 7. Mm-hmm. So to get into the financial industry, for one, the Series 7 is one of the hardest tests. It's 345 questions. No, I'm lying to you. It's 140 questions, 3 hours and 45 minutes. I got it backwards. Yeah, super hard test. All multiple choice. You don't know, and there's like 10 that are fake, so you don't know which 10 are fake.
Fake questions?
Yeah, like just to test them out, see if people actually understand it.
Oh, okay.
So it's really 130, but those extra 10. So we were so blessed that he was able to convince his boss to sponsor us to get our licenses, because it's hard to get that license. Mm-hmm. It's really hard. So
and that's the license to become a financial advisor?
Not necessarily. So we started out on the stockbroker side. So similar to like Wolf on Wall Street, minus all the other stuff. Right. So you call people to get them to invest into stocks that you have.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we lived out there, took our exams. He had us militant. We would wake up at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. We had to run 2 miles on the beach every day.
What the?
Not every day. Let me not lie. Not every day, y'all. Not every day. But most of the days.
Trying to get y'all right.
Yeah, exactly. A mile down, mile back on the beach. Take us to get breakfast, and we would study like it was a job. So we studied 5 days a week, off on the weekends for about 7 hours a day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 7 hours a day. And so that's how we got our licenses. And then we came back home. We did not really end up working at that particular firm. Mm-hmm. So my wife and I, we were like, yo, we got to find a firm. So we just started getting on LinkedIn. What's the other one? Indeed. I believe it came from Indeed, if I'm not mistaken. But we found the firm that we're at. They hired the both of us. We were,
nice.
Yeah, because we were applying to different places. She was getting an interview at Wells Fargo. They were looking at her. I got an interview at Edward Jones. They were looking at me. But we didn't want to work at 2 different firms, so we tried this one, and we both got hired on. Nice. So that was God, and then here we are today. Okay, so that's a short version.
Right. Version. So you got this. So you got your Series 7 license,
and a couple more, but that's the first one. Or SIE. SIE is the first you have to get. It's like the prereq to even get into the industry.
Got you. And passing that test allowed you to become a stockbroker, essentially, and that's what you're doing now.
And then, so once we got to this other firm, we had to take more tests. So we have we have SIE, Series 7, Series 63, Series 65, and then our life and health, and then a variable life and health.
Wow, dang.
So we got 6 licenses.
Yeah, educated.
Yeah, man, it was rigorous. It took like a year and a half to get all those. Okay. But we got them all.
Right, and you're also, outside of that, you're also coaching people on the futures, right?
That. Not necessarily. I kind of do that myself, but if somebody asks, can you show me what you're looking at? Yeah, I'll show them the charts, how I look at the charts, but I don't necessarily mentor people. I did when I was trading. Okay. But not necessarily. I just don't really have the time to do that anymore.
Okay. So what are some, because outside of people outside of the industry, we know about money, but we
Yeah.
don't really know about money like you know about money, right?
Yeah.
So, now that you're behind the curtain, you get a peek into, what finances can actually look like at a high level. Like, what are some of the most surprising things that you've learned after being, a part of the industry for this long?
It could be a bunch of different things. In what regards? Let me ask you that. Would you say?
Like, okay,
Because it could be a lot of different topics.
so let's take your clients, for
Okay.
example. I'm sure your clients are probably around a certain net worth, right?
Yes, I know.
Mhm.
Yes, I know. Like I have people who are just out of college, and I have retirees.
Okay,
So I have everybody.
Okay, gotcha. So do the people who are, I guess, on the higher end
Mhm.
of the net worth, is it something that surprised you as far as like the methods that they took and the route that they took to attain their wealth?
Not necessarily to attain it, but something I did not know before I started in the industry. Um, People were investing in their 401ks, right?
Mhm.
So I honestly, before I really got into the financial industry, I just thought, it's something that you just put money into.
Right.
If I'm being very candid, before I got into the industry, was like 3 years now. Yeah, so about 3 years ago, I just really assumed it was just like most people would assume you just put money into it.
Right,
That's your
right, right.
retirement.
It's like we think it's like a savings
Exactly.
account. Yeah.
But you can invest in that. It really depends on the 401k provider because some they have what's called a brokerage link. So that was one
Mhm.
thing I learned that was interesting. So typically in a 401k you have like a set limit or a set amount of investments that you can pick and choose from.
Right.
So you can actually people don't know, but you can actually pick your own investments inside of there. Typically people will let their like Fidelity, for example, they'll let Fidelity just do it for them.
Right.
Not saying that it is bad, but it's not really tailored towards their risk tolerance, their goals. What are they looking to get out of that money? Because you always want to have an idea of what you're trying to do with that money.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah.
So typically it's not really tailored towards what they're trying to do. Some people may be risky, but their portfolio is conservative, and they never know. Like I've had clients, they thought they were in a risky portfolio. They were in bonds for 20 years, and they missed out on a bunch of money.
Right.
So that was one thing. But the biggest thing when it came to specifically 401ks was it's called a mega backdoor Roth. So that's for your higher net worth individuals.
Okay.
It's basically a way to create money that will be taxed
Mhm.
to create it to be tax free. So essentially, you have two routes when you invest into a 401k or an IRA,
Mhm.
individual retirement account. Same thing as a 401k, but it's for yourself.
And that's after tax, right? The IRA.
That's what most people think. The Roth IRA.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a traditional, which is pre-tax.
Okay.
So it really depends on what you're trying to do. Once again, so with the pre-tax, as long as you make under, they change the numbers every year. So this is just going off of last year's numbers. 77,000. If you make less than that, you can contribute 7,000 towards your IRA every year. Now the reason I said 77,000 is because you can deduct that off your income, essentially, because you're putting it into a retirement account.
Mm-hmm.
Once you make more than that, it gets a little sticky on the amount that you can deduct on your taxes. But if you make less than that 77, you should be able to.
So you'll make 77, but on paper you're making 70.
Basically.
Because you're investing the 70.
But remember, I said the numbers changed, so that was previous numbers. So maybe
it's 2025 right now.
So maybe a little different for 2026. But that's your Roth. That's your Roth route, the tax-free. So you put the money in there, that's going to go tax-free no matter what. When you go to pull it out, it's tax-free. Most people don't know that you have to wait until you're 59 and a half. That's something else that's interesting to really touch.
They penalize you.
10% taxes on top of your regular tax bracket. So with the mega backdoor Roth, okay. So with the mega backdoor Roth, it's a way that higher net worth individuals, because at a certain point they're not able to contribute towards Roth because they make too much money. They have to go pre-tax. Or they can go after tax, which is essentially similar to pre-tax, but it's after-tax money. But once you go to pull the money out, you pay taxes on the gains, not on the principal, just on the gains that you made from it. So what people will do is they'll put in the maximum amount. It's $23,500. They may have changed it again, but $23,500 is a maximum that you could put into a 401k, pre-tax and Roth. But what they will do is put in even more after tax. You can get upwards to 50,000 into it, total, not just the 50,000 after tax. But what they will do is convert that after-tax money. So they'll pay the taxes on it, convert it to Roth, and now that money will grow tax-free for the rest of their life.
Okay.
So that's kind of to keep it more simple. It's not very complex, but it is like with the paperwork and all of that. But that's just the way that people who are higher net worth, they are converting their money that's after tax to Roth, and then it's kind of like a loophole in a sense, and then you can get that tax-free money.
They be knowing all the tricks of trade.
That's just one thing I did not know. That was crazy.
Well, what are some of the biggest financial mistakes you see some of your clients making? Is it waiting to save? Is it not investing early enough? Like, what are some of the biggest mistakes you think?
It's never too late.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if you're like 60, 65, it might be a little too late to just start. But some mistakes, I would say, is patience. That's the biggest one myself I've seen personally, as well as other clients. You don't have the conviction to be patient in your position. So, like, let's say it's been a month and it's not what you want it to be. People may sell it. Like, I have a client, he reached out. He wanted to switch up his kid's portfolio because it was up 200, down 200. It's just the market right now. You know, it's kind of volatile. But you got to be patient because we just opened that portfolio, I want to say, a month ago or so. So really just patience is the biggest thing that I see as a mistake. Another one is not educating yourself, and people, I don't care, there's no woe is me. I knew nothing, you know. I came up country poor, like dirt roads, trailer. That's how I grew up. And, well, not my whole life, but that's what I can first remember. And we are more financially literate now, but back then, family was not.
Right.
And I was still able to do it. So there's no reason that people can't go. I learned everything from YouTube, even studying. I got all of that from YouTube. Of course, the textbooks and stuff as well. But that's another big mistake, is the fact that they are afraid because they don't understand anything. All you got to do is just go on YouTube. It's free. Right. Obviously, I would like everybody to be a client, but, you know, you can go learn everything off of YouTube, honestly.
YouTube University.
Yeah, so patience, just being afraid not to learn everything, and then being afraid of red. That's a really big mistake. If you see red in your portfolio, what would you do?
I mean, I'm young enough. Realistically, I'd be like, dang, but I would wait it out because it's red now, but it might be green in a month or so.
Exactly. Just what you said, you're younger. Some people who are older, they get scared at red, you know, because I want to retire in 2 years. I see a little bit of red. It boils back to patience, but also your risk tolerance. You have to understand if you want to be a 7 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, you have to expect the volatility. And some people may say, I want to be aggressive, and then they see that the downfalls, they want to sell at the bottom. You can't. Think about it, you know, Black Friday, everybody's shopping because it's discounts. The stock market is providing you discounts. Go buy more.
Okay. You telling people to be patient, but you made $20K in a week, man. It's not fair.
That was a one-time thing.
Right.
That was
messing with you.
No. I was saying that was a one-time thing, but that was luck. Everybody who trades, they'll get their one big. Everybody I've seen, they get their one big trade. Yeah. So that was just mine. Gotcha. Now, to say you can't do that, I mean, I see people who make $20K a day. I do see it. I know them. I know people who make $200 a day, $50 a day. So, you know, just
hey, man,
however you get it.
Hey, every little bit counts.
Exactly, every dollar.
So if I was coming to you today with $0, right, what would be your first 3 steps you would tell me to do?
Well, first you want to build an emergency savings. Okay. We tell people to have 6 to 8 months, but start out with 3. Honestly, start out with like 3, but we like to be extra safe. So we tell people 6 to 8. Especially retirees. So get your savings first, and any dollar, don't matter if you're putting in $5, $20, $2,000, whatever it may be, just start. Use the stuff you have an Apple. You have an Apple Watch right now. You can go buy Apple. You watch Netflix. Netflix just had a 10-to-1 split, so which means at first the stock was $1,000. So now what happens is each person who owned one stock or one share, better word to say, they now have 10 shares. So now the stock is only 100 and some change. So more people can go invest into it. Whereas it was 1,000, you know, most people can't really buy one share for 1,000, or they can, but you know, who wants to do that? So just start. You know, I got my little brother investing. You know, just whatever money you can. If you can only put in $100 a month, do it. So that would be number 2, and then number 3, understanding why you're investing. Some people just put money into the market. They don't have a real objective. And then it's like this book It's called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It's really old. I would tell everybody to listen to that. It's on Apple Music if you don't want to read. But basically, he said, I'm not gonna misquote it, so I'm gonna paraphrase it. Basically, he was saying, if you don't have a goal, similar to if there's no captain on the ship is just gonna go anywhere.
Right.
And so, if you don't have an idea of what you're trying to achieve, let's say you want to buy a car. Now you have an actual common goal that you're looking to achieve. You put the money towards it. You feel good because you're getting closer to your goal. Whereas you just put money into it for what?
Right.
And then you don't really feel anything. So
Yeah,
it just creates that momentum.
Yeah, you can't shoot arrows and not have a target.
Exactly.
You're just shooting for no reason.
Exactly.
Right. Got
Exactly.
you. Now you're a black man, obviously. You know, you're in a financial space where a lot of your clients they might not be us.
Yeah. For sure.
And these people are trusting you with probably upwards of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
Yeah, I have a couple.
So have you noticed any resistance or any pushback to?
I mean, it's not necessarily about a race. It's more so about the type of person they are. So we learn it's a good amount of psychology that goes into because I'm getting off topic, but for at one, you have to be a therapist to your clients. Sometimes they just want to meet to vent. Like I've had clients, we just talk for 30 minutes, an hour. We didn't really get anything accomplished.
Right.
So that is important. I just wanted to put that out there because that goes into these 4 different types of people. I'm an expressive person. So, I like to express myself. I like to talk to people. I'm very extroverted. Whereas somebody who is, let's say, an amiable person, then it's like your mom, like an older lady. She's nice, doesn't like a lot of options, A or B, choice only. Don't overflow with them, or they may start to back off. Analytical person, they need numbers. They need to know who, what, when, where, how. Why are we doing this? How are we doing this? What is the end goal, etc. And then we have drivers. They basically they want their ego stroked. They are like your directors, your CEOs. They want to know, what are we doing? What's in it for me, etc. So I'm bringing that up to say, because to be very candid, I don't have a lot of our people as clients. I have more of different races, to be very honest. But it really just boils down to trust. No matter if they're black, Asian, Spanish, white, whatever it may actually be, if they trust you, they're gonna do it.
Right.
So it's really about building trust. Now it is hard, It definitely. I got locks too, so some people first impression they may not like it, but if they actually trust me and what I'm actually saying, it doesn't matter how smart I am. It's just, do they actually have a good feeling about hiring me on? So it does. I've thought that it is harder. I'm not gonna be to beat around the bush. It is harder, because one colleague they could be talking to, I'm just being very exaggerative, Shaquita or something like that. Sometimes they'll set, whereas if I go call her, she may not set. So that there are some things I've seen, I've observed, but I'm not gonna, that's just an obstacle, just a hurdle you gotta get over. But that is real. It is very real. But it really boils down to those 4 types of people. You have to cater to them differently than if I'm talking to an expressive, I could be much more, excited versus an amiable old person. I gotta talk slower. And I gotta make sure that they understand it. Or a driver, I can't be like that. I gotta be more serious with the driver because they're gonna try to run over me. So you gotta be very serious with them. So I would think that answered the question.
Yeah. So is that something that you just learned on the job? Was that part of your training?
No, we still get trained every day. It's like to this day. I'm going on to my 3rd year next year. Now we're trained every day, 8:15 and 9:30 every day on Zoom. Because there's offices all over the nation. Excuse me. So we get trained every day on how to articulate. That was one thing I really had a hard time with that first. I'm trying now, but sometimes my words mesh, you feel me? So like,
that's South.
Exactly. So I try to articulate much more often. And yeah, but we're trained every day. To answer your question, I was about to go on a tangent.
So, you mentioned psychology.
Yeah.
You mentioned the ideas of how people operate and, just, I guess, their worldview on things. So I want to talk a little bit about the worldview around money, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of us, we grow up hearing, oh, the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
Billionaires, they're despicable people because they gotta exploit people.
Right.
There should be no billionaires. It's like we have this aversion to wealth and money.
Yeah.
Why do you think that that is, and do you think that that's an important thing to kind of flush out of your system if you want to, be wealthy, or if you want to, be comfortable even?
So why do I think people view money that way? And then what's the second part of the question?
And then the second part is that something that pretty much we need to do away with in
Okay.
our
Why
psyche?
do people think that way? Because our great-grandparents, great, whatever it may actually be, all they knew was to work. That's all they knew. I'm still trying to convince my mom to invest more. She started, but trying to get her to get out of that perspective. But I would feel like that's really it. They were afraid of it. They weren't taught it. They were never taught to invest. It was work till you die. And so I think that's just passed down. And I always felt different than my family because everybody just want to work. And so I'm like, I don't want to do this forever.
Right.
And that's when that light bulb switched, and I just started to really understand money, the psychology of money. That's a good book. My wife, she got that for us. It's called The Psychology of Money. Read that book. But I gotta stop saying so much. That's my filler word. Where I'm going with it is the fact that is why people are like that. I think it's just passed down, honestly and truthfully, and then the next person just doesn't take that leap of faith and go figure it, see the other side of it. And do we need to do away with it? Yes, because we have to begin to look at money as a tool. Money is nothing, honestly and truthfully. It's only what the society dictates it to be. It could be a shoestring if they made it a shoestring. You could be, I got a blue one.
Right.
So you feel me? So it's not real, for one. Two, people have this mindset of scarcity, as well as, I work for this and I want to use it. God, I've gotten really close to God since I've been working here, man. It's very trying. But God, something I've really learned is you have to live in abundance. You can't be stingy. If I'm down to my last, I still will give it to a homeless person because I know I can go make some more. Money's a frequency. So, if you're not on that frequency, if you're chasing it all the time, it's like you chasing a girl. You chasing her, as soon as you finally get her, she may not like you. So, and then boom, now what? So if you stop chasing money and just understand that money flows to you, and for one, and then two, it's a tool, that really changes your perspective. Because like my wife, she'd be like, back in 2-3 years ago, that's when I first started to really understand that. And I sometimes I didn't have it. And she's like, what are we gonna do? And I'm just like, it's gonna come somehow. I got some money somehow. I don't even, just not even knowing. Whether it's trading or go do a job right quick, whatever it may actually be. So the biggest thing to sum it all up is the fact that money is a tool to get freedom. It's not for you to go work for that and then you go spend it. Why? At that point, you're working for nothing because you spent all the money. So if you get that money to work for you, you have to think of it as your soldiers. You send that money out there to bring. It's a bad analogy, but bring it back to bring back some enemies. You bring those back, some more money. But yeah, you really have to just look at it as a tool.
Yeah, I think a lot of us.
That's the biggest thing.
Right. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You good.
But I think a lot of us, a lot of other ethnicities I just put out there.
Yeah.
Like they have that idea, that mentality that money is a tool.
Yeah.
But a lot of us, money is the goal.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, yeah, I don't want to do all this to get money so that I can basically be a consumer my whole life and spend everything.
Exactly.
So I like what you said about that. That's pretty good. That's good. Now, entrepreneurship, right? Okay, entrepreneurship is hard. Let me just start there.
Very.
It's hard. It's tough. It's tough. Now, I think that being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, that probably gives you, the realest chance or one of the bigger chances at achieving these high net worth things. I mean, you could go work for a company or something, but they're gonna probably cap your salary at $250K or a couple million maybe. But still, there's going to be a cap.
Exactly.
So do you think that entrepreneurship is worth, number one, all of the trials and tribulations that you'll have to go through? And do you have a lot of entrepreneur clients?
First question, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Even if it's a side hustle, get something that, in a sense, when people used to say, get a trade, blah, 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 when I was younger, I didn't really know what they meant. But if you learn how to, even if you just are, not just at all, but even if you are a plumber, that is a thing that no matter what, that's going to be needed. That's recession proof. If you just do that on the side, even if you lose your job, you have a skill that nobody could take from you. You can go do that whenever you need to. And then it can become full time. And then you have a whole business and you got people going to be the plumber for you and you don't have to do it anymore. But, and that's why I said I did not mean just, because I know plumbers. But I grew up around entrepreneurs. My grandfather, he started an insurance company, I want to say in the 80s. Yeah, like the 80s. I was 5 years old going to the office with them. My mom used to take me there all the time. I used to answer the phone for them. So I've been around it. Then my dad created his own business a while back, selling medical equipment to doctors and things of that nature.
Wow.
So I've seen it. And they wanted me to become an insurance agent. I have no problem. I've done it for a while. I used to work at Nationwide with my grandpa, but I wanted to learn the money aspect also. So I've always been around it. Her parents used to own stores, clothing stores in Southlake, Greenbrier, I think Cumberland also. They had a couple stores around the city. So I've always seen it. And are my clients entrepreneurs? Majority of the people, like I'll be very upfront how we get clients. So you can either just go out, talk to somebody, get them as a client in public, or the majority of the time, if you're not doing that, you cold call, or you go to like a boat show, a golf tournament, whatever it may actually be, to go get prospects. Or if not, like I said, you go cold call. So typically I'm calling people who work at businesses in Atlanta or maybe some smaller businesses. Most of them are not, but I do have a couple who do that, but then they also have a business on the side. Like I have a client, can't say where he works, but he does something, and he also fixes RVs. He makes a couple 6 figures off of that, fixing RVs. I would have never thought that.
Wow.
And I think he just got into a grading business too, like cement work. So he does. That's one of them. I don't really have a lot though, to answer your question. Majority of them are either managers, higher ups, VPs, or an everyday employee that aren't in like the managerial positions.
Gotcha. Now, a couple weeks ago, I had a gentleman on the show. His name is Ben, and he is. I think I told you about him when we talked on the phone, but he is heavily invested in Bitcoin.
Yeah, okay, I remember that guy. Yep.
Now, what are your thoughts surrounding crypto? I guess more specifically Bitcoin. What are your thoughts about that versus traditional investments, the 401ks, things like that?
You want to diversify, You can have some stocks, you can have some crypto, you can have some commodities like gold, silver. So I wouldn't tell you, I'm not opposed to it at all. Now, at work, we cannot really give advice around crypto as much.
Okay.
Disclaimer. So I can't really help people in the sense of finding and picking crypto for them. But about Bitcoin, you have to think about, let's take a couple years back. I don't know if you remember when Jamie Dimon over JP Morgan, he was totally against it. He was talking down on it, all of that. Now these institutions are some of the biggest holders of it. And so you got to think, let's just rewind. They told you not to get it so they could go buy all of it. And then now that it's at these highs, now they're making these Bitcoin ETFs. MicroStrategy, that's a company that their whole philosophy is just investing in Bitcoin. I think he has like 500,000 Bitcoins, if I'm not mistaken. That's his whole business. And so digital currency is coming. It's coming. So keep it short. It's coming.
All right, so y'all better get on it.
Yeah, honestly, it's coming.
A lot of what we talked about is mindset, right? So what do you think it takes for somebody that's in survival mode? What does it take for them to transition themselves into, wealth accumulation mode? Because that's two totally opposing things. You said what?
God.
Okay.
God.
Okay.
For real, bro. Hold on. hold on, because I just had this sermon. I think it was either this week or last week. This was a really good one. I had wrote down some notes.
Yeah, because I mean, it's tough, like you said, sometimes when you have to survive, when you're worrying about how I'm gonna put gas in my car, and then they see you,
Yeah.
and you telling them about investing for 20 years later, it's almost like,
Right.
bro, I can't think about that right now.
Okay, I found it. Also, to answer your question, I just thought about it. I do have a newer client. He's a barber, and he does business consulting, credit repair. He does all of that. That dude is, I like him a lot. But we're very like-minded. I don't know if I can say his name, but yeah. So just know I got a barber client. His wife fiance is a chiropractor as well. She does that on the side. I just thought about them. I forgot. So I do have a couple more. But the thing, it was last week and this week. The biggest thing I liked a lot was you don't have to have an abundance. You just need to have the availability for God. All you need is trust, courage, obedience. When God asks for something illogical, it's to set you up for the impossible. The other big one was God will let it run out so you can run to Him. I've been down to my last. Like, I'll give you an example. This is very vulnerable, but at one point when my wife and I first started to work, so we went to St. Croix. Spent a lot of money out there, living out there for 7 months. Good amount of our savings. Everything is expensive out there. Gas was, I want to say, 5 something. 8. What was it? 12. It was either 12 or 18 eggs. I can't remember which one. Either way, it was $14. Juice, 6. It was crazy. So the money goes through fast out there. And so once we came back, we had to pay for all of these exams. Everyday. We were building a house at the same time, so literally all the money that we were getting was going to that. So we were, in a sense, house poor and this was 3 years ago. So everything we were getting was just going into that, whether it was buying materials or building something. We did it ourselves, and so that was a lot. That was a lot of hard work. And so we got this job. So mind you, all of 2023, we're paying for these exams. They're not cheap. Paying for the study material. And building a house. So all of our money, we didn't really have money to go spend frivolously. It was all going to our goals. And when we get started to work, we did not have the best car. Shouts out to God now. But we did not have the best car. We got stuck on 75 2 times. I remember that. Coolant leaked. Car was smoking. I'm just sitting there. We getting off of work at like 8 o'clock. I'm like, bruh. We sat there for like an hour till the traffic died down so we could just jet to the crib. So I'm bringing this all up to say, we were down to our last $300. Our last $300 in survival mode. We were like trying to figure out what we were going to eat for lunch, like just planning out that $300 we had left. And she was in the kitchen one night cooking, and she was crying, or not crying. She wasn't crying, but she was like tearing up. She's like, "Man, what are we about? Did we make the right decision? Like, what are we doing here? You know, we living by. We're closer now, but we lived by Atlanta Motor Speedway, South Side. We drive all the way to Buckhead by Lennox Mall every day. Hour and a half in the morning, hour 15 in the morning, 2 hours almost to come back home.
Yeah, that's a long way.
Months. Yeah, that was a lot of gas. Filling out twice a week. Not the best car, like I said. Sum it all up from here. We were down to our last 300. Once again, God, that was the first time I've actually like really heard God, and He was like, "Just tell her be patient." Back to the patience. She's like, "Just tell her to be patient." I'm sure she won't mind me saying it. It was a couple years ago now. This was in maybe October, November? A couple weeks later, she got a deal, $12,000. So she got that deal. She got paid that $12,000 off of that one deal from work. And that just really set us up. So I had to tell you a real story. So that was really a down bad moment. $300 collectively, not separate. And just really trusted in God and just did the work. You know, faith without work is dead. So you just got to really do the work, understand why you're doing it, put all of your faith in God, and just make that leap. You just got to do it.
Yeah. Ooh, man, I know a lot of people can relate to that, being down to their last, $300, even $50, $5, So I know that, in those moments you got to be really strong, especially when you got a wife to provide for it. That's even tougher, man. So.
It was crazy.
Woo. Yeah, man, more power to you. I'm glad it worked out, though.
Amen.
Hey,
exactly.
Man. Hey. But back to business owners. What do you think are some of like the biggest blind spots that business owners have when it comes to finances and setting themselves up for success?
One of the biggest is business continuity, I would say.
Mm.
So what is the way that the business is going to be split up, or who's going to inherit it? Because sometimes, let's say it's three parties that own it. Let's say one of the parties die. Now the wife is now the owner. The other two people may not want her to be the owner, and now it can create a whole court ordeal. Whereas if you have a business continuity plan in place, there are ways to where you can use insurance to pay out the person's family who died their cut of the business, and now the two people own it, and you avoid all of that court and all those fees. So that's one of the biggest things that I've seen. Also, just having your business created not necessarily the wrong way, but LLC versus example S corp. You can avoid paying as much taxes if you were to have an S corp, because you're paying yourself like an employee, whereas LLC, you're paying those self-employment taxes. So it's just a way that you can pay yourself. The money can stay with the business, but you've paid let's say you make $500,000, you pay yourself $100. Versus if you had an LLC and you make $500,000, you're taxed on all of that. Whereas S corp, you're taxed on what you paid yourself, the $100,000.
Got you. Okay. Huh. Yeah, I need to think about that because I got an LLC.
Tap in, man.
Right, I know what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, a lot of times we hear about, the wealthy use trust. They have trust within trust that owns another trust. The trust owns the house, all of this stuff. How convoluted does that get? And is it really necessary to have that much secrecy wrapped around your empire?
I'll say this. So let's say you want to just create a will, or I'll just say what I was going to say, but let's say you want to create some document to just pass down your assets. A will would do pretty much fine. That'd be pretty much all you really need. If you just, you got, let's say you got $100,000, you want to pass that down to your kids, you could just make a will.
Right.
Let's say you have, like you said, an empire where we have a couple of businesses, we may have some rental properties, etc. A trust, there's two different types of trust. You can have a revocable and an irrevocable. So revocable means it's basically a living trust. So as long as you're alive, you can modify the trust however you see fit while you're alive. But an irrevocable trust, and then once you die, it's set in stone. But an irrevocable trust is going to be a trust that you no longer own those assets. So let's say you have an LLC that you want to put into there. Now, God forbid anything were to happen or somebody were to come after you, you don't own it. So they can't sue your business. The trust owns the business. God. So it's not necessarily about secrecy, it's just protection. In a sense, I have an example of a prospect. He has a couple of rental properties. He wants to demolish some of them and turn one property into, 6 townhomes, and then the other into a office space to get leased out. I asked him, do you have an LLC set up at least? He was like, no, these are all personal names. So I'm like, what if something happens and they try to sue you? And he's like, wow, I didn't really think about that. I'm like, yeah, at a bare minimum, we want to have an LLC. Then we can start talking about trusts and things of that nature. But it's really a protection thing. Because if you don't have a will at a bare minimum, your second, 15th cousin that you ain't never met can come after your assets and they can contest that in court. So you need a will at the bare minimum. Now, trust, like I said, that's if you want to protect your assets. And it can get, I could go on that for a while, but that's to keep it simple.
Right.
Trust is more so to protect what you have. You no longer own it. It could be a legacy play too for your kids down the line. Whereas just a will, you just want to pass that down. You don't really care about the protection as much. Then there's two types of trusts.
Right. Does it make sense for an average person to have a trust? Like, would I need a trust?
I mean, it's your prerogative if you want to. If you don't want to own, let's say, your business, you could put your business into the trust. Yeah, your trust owns the business.
But I have control over the trust, though.
If you have a revocable, yes.
Okay. So the trust owns it, but I control the trust, even though I don't own it. And
yes and no, because let's say with an irrevocable, you have your trustee. That's the person you pick, and they are over the trust.
Oh, okay.
Whereas revocable, I believe, don't hold me to it. I haven't done a bunch of them. I've seen it a couple of times, so I like to be very transparent with people. I don't have all of the answers.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
But if I do believe you can be the trustee and the grantor if you have a revocable, which is the living trust, you can still be the trustee. But if it's an irrevocable, you have to pick somebody to be the trustee over the trust. They basically control it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So, Jeff Bezos, he got divorced a couple years ago. Probably the biggest divorce in history.
Right.
His wife got like I don't know how many billions.
A lot.
A couple $100 billion, whatever. Right. So if he had a trust, and the trust owned Amazon or the wealth, then would that protect him from something like that?
Well,
I guess it depends on how it works, huh?
they were married, so they get sticky.
Yeah, I see.
You know,
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because she's entitled. If you just sign a prenup, she's entitled to it. So.
Okay. Huh. All right. Interesting. Interesting.
Sticky. I don't have the exact answer, so
right.
It could get sticky though.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I asked you some pretty hard hitting questions, man. I kind of want to lighten it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Get some of your insight on things real quick. So I'm gonna ask you some this or that questions.
Okay.
All right. I think I know what you're gonna say on this one. Save or invest?
Invest.
I knew it.
All day.
All right. Index funds or real estate?
Both. Is this only one answers?
Yeah.
Okay.
This or that.
Okay. Damn, I'll have to say both on that one.
You have to say both?
I would have to.
Okay. All right. All right. Roth IRA or traditional IRA?
Roth, but remember it only up to a certain amount, then they can't do it. But Roth. I would say.
Okay.
I would say Roth.
All right. Pay off debt fast or invest while paying it down?
I would say pay it off fast.
Okay.
That way you have the cash flow.
All right. I think I know what you're gonna say on this one. LLC or S corp?
That just depends. At a bare minimum, LLC, but every person does not need an S corp.
Okay.
So I can't say S corp over LLC because everybody does not need an S corp.
When do you need an S corp?
Once you start making a good amount, and your self-employment taxes are
gotcha.
beating you over the head, probably want to start looking at S corp.
All right. So I'm gonna need an S corp. I'm just putting that out there.
Do it.
All right. Cash flow or net worth?
Cash flow.
Really? Why? Why cash flow over net worth?
Because this is my personal, but because if you have the cash flow, you can invest it more. But let's say you have the net worth, everything might not be liquid to where you could just sell it easily.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, you may be worth a couple million, but how easily are you able to access that compared if you had the positive cash flow each and every month? You can do whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, but you can invest it how you want.
Yeah, it's easier to manage. All right, high risk, high reward, or slow and steady?
Me, high risk.
Really? Okay, all right.
I like risk, but
all right,
I'm a
financial
different person.
advisor.
For myself,
Right,
but if I'm doing it for someone else, I can't tell you what you want to be. You gotta tell me, and then I go figure out what can we invest in. But personally, I like high risk.
Okay. All right, emergency fund or opportunity fund?
That one's hard because I'm a risk taker. But I would say, realistically speaking, an emergency fund. Yeah.
Okay. All right, live below your means or expand your means?
That one's hard because expanding means is kind of close to manifestation. That one's hard. I would say live below. Not forever, though. Not forever. Like I got a client. He lived below his means for a while. He's up a couple mil, and now he's about to go move abroad. So he can still live below his means in a different country.
Yeah. Dang, okay. Huh, so live below, okay. All right, stocks or crypto?
I'm talking financial advisor, I would say stocks. Crypto has high risk, high reward, so it could be a much higher reward. But realistically speaking, as an advisor, stocks are more reliable because they're actually backed by something. But crypto still could be backed, but believe it or not, Bitcoin could drop $10,000 and you don't know why. You have no reason, you have no idea why.
What's going on, right? Okay, dollar cost averaging or lump sum investing?
Dollar cost all day.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, dollar cost.
High yield savings account or CD?
High yield.
Okay. All right. All
High
right.
yield. Because you have access to that. With the CD,
Yeah, you might have to
you
wait some
gotta,
months.
if you take the money out, you pay a surrender charge. Like, let's say you put in 100, you need it before that 6 months is over. You take the whole 100. They're not gonna give you that. They're gonna give you maybe like 75.
Right.
So high yield, that's your savings account.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna throw some facts at you, and you just tell me your first thoughts about these things. All right. All right. Many black entrepreneurs start businesses with little or no outside funding.
And was it like true false or?
No, I'm just telling you. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, that's true.
That's
1999, I started with nothing.
Mhm.
I mean, I had funding in the sense of getting sponsored, but this is all from where I am today is all from just doing it starting on YouTube.
Mhm.
So I'll use myself. Yeah.
So, do you think that black entrepreneurs should pursue funding in the beginning?
It makes it much easier.
Mm.
It definitely makes it much easier. But you have to have a plan because if you get this funding and then it goes to shit.
Yeah, you
Okay.
yeah.
It goes to shit. It's like I gotta pay that money back. Plus, I gotta keep my own self afloat.
True.
So
True.
you have to have a very concrete business plan, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. So, black families are far less likely to inherit money or property compared to other groups. What are your thoughts on that?
Sucks, but it's kind of true.
Yeah.
It is. Once again, it goes back to the mentality that our great parents, our great grandparents, I'm gonna just work, and you don't really. I'm not gonna say everybody. There's still some people. Like my in-law, she just became a realtor 5 years ago. She had a couple properties. She's gonna leave those for my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a whole, though, that is very factual, and we are gonna change that. Yeah.
There we go. All right, be the change you want to see.
Exactly.
Right? All right, financial literacy remains unevenly distributed across communities.
I don't believe that.
Really?
You can go on YouTube.
That's true.
It's
true.
you. Not you, but it's you. If
Mhm.
you want to learn it, you will go figure out how to learn it. So I don't believe in that woe is me right there because internet is so easy to make money on the internet. It's so easy to learn. There's really, if a 15-year-old, 14-year-old can go make a couple 100,000, why can't we?
Right.
And these younger kids, they're just so well versed on the internet. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I think the thing about that, though, is you can look on YouTube, but I can make a YouTube video and be like, you know what? I invested 2,000 and that was 100,000 today. And I never did that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying? You have to watch the ones that are teaching you, not the ones who are just like, yeah, I did this. Come join my course. You don't need those. You need the ones that nobody's really watching. Like, there's not a lot of views on them, but they're actually giving you real sauce, like real knowledge. Ignore the join. You won't be able to do this unless you join. Ignore all of those. You need the ones that are actually providing value for no cost. They're the most strangest secret again. The most important things are free. So it's like your mind is free. The way you think. If you have a perception of money in the sense of how you were talking about is negative, you'll always see it as that. But if you just literally change your mind, get on that frequency, I promise you the videos, not just the videos, but that knowledge will come if you're open to receiving it.
Right. So that means you're gonna be on YouTube soon.
I got one, but it's when I used to trade. It's like 2 videos only.
Oh, okay.
But it's like a little chart and stuff. But yeah, I've thought about it.
So where do you see the economy going? I mean, that's hard to answer.
Yeah.
But right now, like you said, everything is volatile. Things are very volatile. I think, the administration and a lot of things happening, a lot of things going on. So where do you see, I guess, 2026? Are you able to see some signs about where things are headed as far as the economy? I guess in your job?
Well, it's a lot of stuff is, if I'm going to be very candid, under the Trump presidency, the things can switch from a tweet. So you can't really forecast it as much because I swear to you, if he says something about a company, it could pop off. Like, I remember his first presidency. I can't even remember. He was talking about something about McDonald's. My wife and I, we used to tune in to every speech he did because I'm like, all right, he might say something. I forget what he even said about McDonald's. It shot up. We caught that. We did not catch this when he said that, you know, Kodak, the camera company, they're going to start making pharmaceuticals. They got the facility. They're not going to make it, but they'll facilitate it. I think they got like a 600 million, maybe 500 million, something like that. The stock went from like maybe $5 to 60 in a week or so.
Damn.
So it's very hard because he can start talking about tariffs again, and then the market drops. They don't like the tariffs. But one of the things that they're really looking at right now are rate cuts to get the interest rates back down. And then the chairman of the Federal Reserves, who dictates the rate cuts, he's supposed to leave in May. So I genuinely don't know, because Trump's going to bring in one of his own people. So I genuinely don't know. But they like money. You know, they like money. They make the market. He literally tweets, you should buy the market. He's tweeted that a couple times when the market dipped. Months later is ripping. So to sum it all up, unless we go to another war, I don't really see much negatively impacting it outside of inflation, interest rate cuts, the job market itself. Those are things that you should watch out for, as well as home sales. That'll really dictate the housing market. Yeah, I would say those variables are very important to look at. So I can't really predict it, but I mean, if we're just talking Trump, unless he says something crazy, I don't really see it dipping like a flash crash. Now, the market does need one soon. I'm not gonna lie.
It needs one. Okay.
It's been running, it's been running a long time, since like 2020. After that drop, you know, it's been obviously I had a little bit of pullbacks, but you know, it's been running straight up. So things should pull back to get fairly valued. That way, people can, you know, purchase it again. But I don't know if that will happen. But a correction is due. I can't predict when. I wish you wouldn't even see me.
Right.
You would not see me. I'm out there betting on the stocks.
All right. AI. AI has, I think, impacted almost every sector of business. How do you think that would impact you and what you do?
It helps. I use it.
Oh, really? Okay.
If I need a particular presentation format, you know, I may tell it, hey, make it look like this for me. If I don't have the time, I use it. Or I don't have all the answers. You know, I may go ask it, hey, where would I go to find XYZ? Tell me where to go find it. Okay, now I could go do my due diligence on it. Or if I wanted to compare a portfolio to the one I built out for somebody, their portfolio to that one, how, what's the word I'm looking for? How correlated are they? Or if I want to, that's not a good example, but if I want to look at somebody's holdings, you know, let's say they're in some mutual funds, and I tell it, create me a coefficient matrix, basically that will tell you how correlated are those different funds. Like, are you really diversified, or are you investing in funds that are, the other fund is invested in those same funds, and you're double dipping. So if it goes down, you lost twice. So, you know, I use it. I'm not gonna ever lie like I don't. But I don't know if it would ever take over the industry as a whole, because people still, honestly, some of the stuff that they ask, they could just go look on the internet, but they want to, you know, talk to a person. And so I don't really see that aspect of it going away, but it does help.
So you don't think you'll be replaced by AI? No time.
I don't.
Okay, good.
Me personally, you know, I don't know about everybody else.
All right. Now, this show is called Another 24, right? And the reason why it's called Another 24 is because that's the biggest blessing that we can get.
Another 24 hours, yep.
Yeah, man. So, you know, that's the one thing that everybody on the face of the planet can agree on.
Right.
We don't agree on much, but we can all agree that we want another 24 to, you know, chase your dreams, or, you know, fix some mistakes, or, you know, spend time with your family, invest, you know. So for the young man who is watching everything you're doing, he might be watching this interview right now. Well, not right now, but, you know, later on. He might be watching this interview, and he wants to, you know, he's interested in finances. He wants to be a financial advisor like you, right? But he might be struggling. He might want to quit or something. What are some words of advice that you would give to somebody who needs help through their next 24 hours to keep them going? If you could, just look at that camera.
All right. So no matter if you're trying to do this or you want to go do something else, the biggest thing is, one, you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't, how can I believe in you? or how can someone else believe in you? So you have to believe in yourself and have that conviction of what you're trying to achieve. I would also say God. I'm gonna keep saying God. It's just He's done miraculous things for me. So you have to be very close with God. Do the work. Um, and then I used to always hear people say, "Birds of a feather flock together." So you can't be the smartest person in your group. You know, you're like the big fish in this little pond. I would rather be the small fish in the ocean because I want to learn everything as much as possible. So just always be open to learning and don't have the pride to, you know, not talk to somebody because you may be jealous or whatever it may actually be. Um, and just have a goal. You know, what are you looking to achieve? Why are you doing it? Who is this for? Is it for you? Is it for your family? Understand why you're doing that actual goal, and just don't stop. You know, my family told us not to go there. You know, her family did too, not to go to St. Croix when we went out there. We wouldn't be able to be doing what we were doing if we were just listening to everybody else. So, you know what you're trying to do and don't stop. No matter if you getting one view, one client, whatever the field is, just go until you die and invest.
All right. There it is. Now, how can people find you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Desean Scott. I have a Instagram page. I'll get more active on it. It was my trading page, but I think I'm going to convert it into just, you know, financial, not strategies, but financial information, just general topics. I can't really give recommendations over social media like that, but, you know, I can just give general topics. So it's Sean Don Trades, SeanDon Trades, TRADES. On Instagram. And then LinkedIn is Desean Scott, Desean Scott, Scott.
All right, well, listen, man, Desean, this was a great interview, man. Very insightful, man.
Yeah.
You know, I think you sparked my brain a little bit, man. I'm
Good.
gonna start thinking a little bit more. Man, we gonna talk about it.
Right,
We gonna talk.
Yeah,
So I appreciate you coming on. Anytime you want to come on, you got something new going on. When you start your own firm and branch out, you know, you can come talk about it here, man.
That's in the future.
So I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. And that's a wrap.
All right, bet. That was good.
Yeah, that was good, man. I went.